Let's have a look at augmented chords. Augmented chords have a raised fifth. So instead of being 1, 3, 5, they're 1, 3 sharp 5. So let's have a look at a C chord. It's a good chord to turn into augmented and a good shape to move up and down the fretboard. So here's an open C. Let's not worry about the treble string here or the bass string. We'll just look at these 4 middle strings and analyze the C chord. So we have a root, a third, a fifth, and a root. Now we have to raise that fifth, which is the open G string, by a semitone. And that's how we do it. I do a little mini bar there with my index finger. Keep the rest of the C chord. Now that's a C augmented. And that's C sharp, that's D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, and so on, up the neck. So that's an augmented shape on the middle strings. Now let's look at the top strings here, and let's look at an E chord. And we'll forget about the 2 bass strings here. We'll just look at this part of an E chord, which is a root, third, fifth, root. So we have to raise the fifth, which is the open B string in this case. And that's an E augmented. So that's 1, 3, sharp 5, 1. And that shape moves up. You have to switch your fingers around. So that's F augmented, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, and so forth, up the neck. But if you look at this E augmented, you can see that it's actually the same, it uses the same notes as a C augmented. That's the first one we looked at, and this is the second one we looked at. And that's because its scale is symmetrical. It's built on the whole tone scale, and the intervals between the chord tones are even, or all 4 frets apart. This E augmented is in fact the same as the C augmented chord. And so there's really only 4 augmented chords, because each chord has an inversion with this using exactly the same shape 5 frets away, or 4, depending on how you want to count it. I usually see it as 5 myself, but because I count the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is the same as that. This is a new inversion of that. And that is the same as that, is the same as that. I can't quite get up here, but they just keep going up every 4 frets, or 5, whatever way you want to count it. So in effect, there's really only 4 augmented chords. There's this one, this one, this one, and that one. And then that's a new inversion of this one, and so on and so forth. So you can see that they're actually kind of neat that way. When you play an augmented chord, you can always just move up 4 frets to find the new inversion and get some interesting movement in your rhythm part. So those are the best shapes to work around. There's not a very good one to use on the bass strings. That's G. That's the G augmented shape. So if we want to move that up, we've got to. So that's G augmented. This is G sharp. It's quite uncomfortable for me anyway. You might find it easier if you have long fingers. A augmented, A sharp, B. But I always prefer to work on these middle strings or the top. So that's augmented. 1, 3 sharp 5.